Hello, dear friends, welcome to our YouTube channel, USA Football Zone, latest football highlights. This is a crucial World Cup qualifying match, played out in the packed and raucous Estadio Monumental. Stepping onto the pitch against their arch-rivals Argentina, Brazil did not merely lose, it was a devastating 4-1 defeat. This is not simply a matter of the scoreline, it is a defeat of pure tactical failure, a systematic breakdown of the team, layer by layer. It is a defeat where the captain labels his team's performance shameful, and the coach admits that absolutely none of their game plans worked. This is the story of a hypothetical match, a tactical thought experiment that attempts to understand how a legendary team like Brazil could suffer such a humiliating defeat. So, how could such a scenario possibly come to pass? Assuming the absence of legendary players like Lionel Messi and Lautaro Martinez, how could Argentina deliver such an extraordinary performance in the history of this storied rivalry? The answer lies not merely in the goals scored. It is embedded within the team's tactical blueprint. This story is not about emotion or luck. It is about the collapse of team structure, a pressing strategy that failed completely, and a midfield that vanished entirely from the match. Let us delve into the tactical brilliance that allowed Argentina to dismantle Brazil from the inside out and uncover the deep-seated issues that can spell devastating defeat for any team. Big matches are often won or lost in the midfield. And in this hypothetical match, Brazil's midfield will be completely missing in action. This will prove to be the primary catalyst for the team's downfall. Argentina's manager, Lionel Scaloni, will set up his team to swarm the Brazilian players from all sides, forming a hive, leaving Brazil with absolutely no answer. Imagine the Brazilian team spread out across the pitch in a 4-4-2 formation. In this scenario, their two central midfielders, likely players such as Andre and Joelinton, would face in. Argentina's midfield would constantly shift positions and move rapidly back and forth, leaving the Brazilian midfielders facing a numerical disadvantage at any given moment. Finding themselves completely swarmed, what would be the result? A massive void would open up between the Brazilian midfield and their defensive line. The Argentine squad would show no mercy in exploiting this open space. Time and again, a player like Enzo Fernandez would be seen driving into that void with the ball, turning around, and staring down a bewildered and retreating Brazilian defense. There would be no one close enough to apply any pressure on them. Brazil's midfield duo would be left grasping at thin air. They would be dragged out to the flanks in an attempt to thwart attacks, thereby creating even more space for Argentina to slice through the middle. Building any sort of attack became a nightmare for Brazil. With their midfielders pinned down, they had no clear avenue to advance the ball. They were forced to resort either to hopeful long balls forward or to risky dribbles that yielded no results. The midfield serves as the engine room of any team, and in this match, Argentina completely stalled that engine, effectively suffocating Brazil. Indiana modern football, a high press can completely alter the trajectory of a game. However, when executed without proper coordination, it amounts to shooting oneself in the foot. In our hypothetical match, Brazil's press would serve as a textbook example of how to do it. They would push high up the pitch in an attempt to pressure Argentina, but their efforts would be disjointed and uncoordinated. You see, an effective press requires the entire team to function cohesively as a single, unified unit. The forwards push forward, the midfield closes in behind them, and the defensive line holds a high line. The Brazilian squad failed to execute any of these tasks simultaneously. Instead, you would observe a few players such as Vinicius Jr. or Mateus Cunha sprinting alone to try and halt an Argentine defender, only to find that their own midfield line was lagging 10 yards behind them. This left vast pockets of open space for Argentina to exploit through the middle of the pitch. Goalkeeper Emi Martinez and the defensive unit capitalized on this disjointed pressure, effortlessly exchanging passes to evade the press. Suddenly, Argentina would find themselves with ample open territory to breach the initial defensive line and advance upfield. To successfully apply pressure against a team as technically proficient as Argentina, one must play with immense composure and tactical discipline. In this match, Brazil's pressing was utterly exposed and amateurish. Scaloni's side would shift their tactics in the blink of an eye, at times exchanging short, rapid passes into open spaces, and at other times breaking free from their markers to launch long balls toward a forward making a run upfield. This significantly undermined Brazil's prospects. Their pressing scheme appeared completely amateurish. They merely succeeded in exhausting themselves. leaving them even more vulnerable to subsequent counterattacks. With the midfield spiraling out of control and their pressing strategy in shambles, Brazil's entire defensive structure began to crumble. The backline was left completely exposed. Yet the problem ran far deeper than that. The entire team was in disarray, will crumble, and Argentina's clever maneuvers will systematically dismantle them, one by one. The defining feature of the match will be Argentina's astute use of feints and rotations, which will sow total confusion. For instance, you will observe Julian Alvarez dropping deep, drawing a center-back out of position with him, thereby creating vast pockets of space for a midfielder, such as Alexis Mac Allister, to surge forward. A winger will cut inside, dragging a fullback along. This will leave the entire flank wide open for an overlapping Argentine fullback to exploit with a rapid forward run. Brazil's defenders will find themselves trapped in a perpetual dilemma. Should I chase my assigned player and abandon my defensive post? Or should I maintain our team shape, thereby granting a world-class player the time and space to receive the ball? They will be constantly reacting, never truly able to seize control of the situation. This will result in gaping voids opening up within the defensive line, gaps that Argentina's attackers will exploit with ruthless efficiency. The first hypothetical goal, a quick strike by Alvarez, will serve as a perfect illustration of this ensuing chaos. A pinpoint pass will slice through the Brazilian defense, leaving the defenders shell-shocked and making the finish appear deceptively simple. The second quick goal will stem from a similar defensive error, a failure to properly track an opponent's run. Within a mere few minutes, Brazil's entire game plan will lie in absolute ruins. It will be a match defined by Brazil squandering chance after chance, while simultaneously failing to create any meaningful opportunities of their own. While it is easy to focus on Brazil's shortcomings, that tells only half the story. This match will stand as a true tactical masterclass orchestrated by Lionel Scaloni and Argentina, playing without their biggest star. This squad will demonstrate precisely why they are the reigning world champions, displaying a level of maturity and tactical intelligence that is nothing short of extraordinary. Argentina's game plan will be built entirely upon the principle of absolute control. When in possession, their team structure will be remarkably fluid. They will constantly shift their positions to exploit every inch of the pitch. They will patiently draw the Brazilian team to one side of the field, and then suddenly, with lightning speed, switch the point of attack to the other flank, where a teammate will be waiting in ample space. This will leave the Brazilian defense stretched thin across the pitch, making it easier to breach their lines. A potential third goal, perhaps scored by Mac Allister, would be the direct result of this beautiful, coordinated team movement. Just when it seems Brazil might be finding their way back into the match, Argentina will reassert their dominance. They will advance the ball with precision and efficiency, ultimately creating a scoring opportunity through a superb pass. Even a hypothetical fourth goal, scored late in the game, would serve as a symbol of Argentina's total control. It would reveal a team still brimming with energy, fully committed to their tactical blueprint, and hungry for further success. It would prove that this Argentine squad is not merely a one-man team. Rather, they are a highly disciplined, tactically brilliant, and unrivaled football machine. Ultimately, this hypothetical 4-1 defeat would be more than just a humiliating result for Brazil. It would serve as a harsh tactical lesson. Argentina would not win merely through a few strokes of luck. They would triumph because they possess a clear, astute, and adaptable game plan, one that makes Brazil look like a collection of talented individuals playing together for the very first time. Argentina's control of the midfield, their intelligent pressing, and their effective utilization of space would expose every vulnerability within the Brazilian squad. A match of this nature serves as a stark reminder that, in the modern game, raw talent alone is simply not enough. Without a robust tactical foundation, even the most storied nation in the footballing world can be brought to its knees. This has been our analysis regarding how such a disaster might unfold. What do you believe would be the primary cause of a potential Brazilian defeat? Would it be the battle for midfield supremacy, a lack of effective pressing, or something else entirely? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoy this kind of in-depth strategic analysis, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Thanks for watching.